Bhavna and you're watching India Today. I'm very, very excited to be joined by Ayan Mukerji, the creator of the Brahmastra universe that we have loved immensely in theatres and which is coming very soon on Disney Hotstar. Firstly, a huge welcome. Ayan, I need to take that moment.
The Brahmastra universe
Part 1
is called the Astraverse. Astraverse.
The creator of the Astraverse.
Right,
Let me
exactly.
put it like
That's
that.
the big dream now after Brahmastra. Thank you, Bhavna. I must admit first that I feel mildly strange being on an interview because it's been quite a bit of time since Brahmastra has come out.
Yeah.
So like, my actors and all are making fun of me and all. Ki abhi bhi kar rahe ho interviews.
We saw the...
You saw, literally that's the attitude. Abhi bhi chal raha hai. Kitna promote karoge? People know about Brahmastra. But anyway.
But I want to know firstly, before I even start on the Brahmastra bit, that entire idea of promoting with Ranbir being frustrated about whose idea was that exactly?
It was a team effort. It was the Hotstar team and us and Ranbir and Alia. So it came up jointly, but it was very true to the moment in a way. So obviously we shot it, but there's not only a little bit, there's quite a bit of truth in that general attitude. Actually, I called Ranbir yesterday also. I said, Ranbir, I have to do some interviews. Do you want to join me? It'll be better. People will be more interested in hearing you talk than me. He was like, bye.
Bas ho gaya mera.
He's like, bye. He hung up.
No, but I can only imagine. And also, you know, it's been over a month in fact.
It's been almost, we're coming close to 2 months. Close to 2 months.
But has it sunk in yet that because 5 years of wait, Ayan, not just for you, but also for the audience who had been waiting for this Astraverse to happen, the reception has been pretty well. Everyone is excited about knowing about the innumerable Astras that we are going to be introduced in the following series and parts as well. Has it sunk in yet that this is, finally...
Yeah, I think now, literally actually with around the time that we are doing this interview, because it's been a while since the thing, I think things have settled down for me, to be honest. I took my first holiday over Diwali, because the film was coming on Hotstar and we were still releasing the music of the film, doing a little bit of planning for part 2. Actually, when the film released, I was genuinely very busy. Like you mentioned that you send me a message and I only replied now. I've still not replied to most people's messages on the film. So I was surprised that it took 5-6 weeks. After that, I was still very caught up with work. Now things have settled down. I reflected a lot on this trip that I went on. And I feel very energized and excited about our future.
But what has been the best compliment? Because I hear so many things from people all over who have watched the film. They're very excited about the entire part. They were very thrilled to see the kind of VFX because for a film like this to work, the VFX really needs to and I saw that a lot of attention was given to that because while we are watching, one of the key factors everyone appreciated was the VFX. It
was always, the visual effects was, I knew from the beginning, very key. To be very honest with you, I hope that a time comes, even as we make part 2, that maybe I have to give, I feel like in the West, when filmmakers approach big visual effects films, which is all the main kind of films that they are producing as blockbuster films today, Marvel ki filmein ho, ki DC films or any other films. I would assume that they have so much technical support that actually the filmmaker is still concentrating on his story and they have the infrastructure for visual effects to happen. But because we were doing something that had not been done before, it wasn't like that for me. So a lot of mine and my team's attention went on solving the VFX game of the film along with our partners in visual effects. So I actually hope that, as we move forward, one can, to be honest, like that technical stuff starts getting taken care of by itself. But we worked very hard on the whole visual effects game. And I'm very happy that that pillar of the film came out with, with really good thumbs up. And the best compliment that I had on the film that you asked me, it's a bit of a tough question. I'm going to say that... so there were a lot of different good compliments. Lot of critique as well from people who are especially close to me and all. But I think in general, whenever I met younger kids, it's not one specific thing that they said, but the energy that I got from like kids aged 8 to 15 was very special for me. Actually, I did not imagine that kids would like the film so much. And maybe I should have, because there's, there's magic in the film and there's like all this imagination. But somewhere I thought कि यार बच्चों को समझ में आएगी कि नहीं कहानी. But I realized that that generation got the film like nobody else. So I think that was one of the things that surprised me.
Right? Because now in the second part, you know that there is an audience who is
younger and going to grow up with this universe. Yeah.
That's so true. But also, I feel that when the film is new and it's newly released, you're only looking at the good parts. But eventually, say in 2 months from now, I mean, now is the time when you've gone into self-retrospection and introspected what could have been better as well in the first part. Did you also go through that process?
Yeah. To be honest, Bhavna, some of that process was on even before Brahmastra came out, because as we had reached a certain point on part 1 in this filmmaking process of this film, I feel like it really started to click in my mind what it is that I was doing. It's like sometimes people imagine that like a vision for a film is completely realized before you start. It's like cooking a dish. You know that, okay, I want to make a dish, but there is a lot that happens as you're cooking it, as, each ingredient gets added into the project. And I think the space of the film, the combination of visual effects in this modern world, but with like deeply rooted Indian spirituality, the way each Astra came out, the potential for the universe, this word Astraverse was not there when I began 5 years ago. I coined it as we were making the film. So even before part 1 came out, I was feeling that shit, I've put all this work into part 1, but I know what I can do with part 2.
Yeah.
So that feeling has been there in me, to be honest. And of course, then I've got a bunch of feedback. I put 2 of my assistants on the job that only collect feedback, only collect fan theories. And now we're going to sit down for a few days and just go through all of it, and really study what people have said. So definitely, my general attitude is listen to everything and then taking all that in, move forward in the future.
It's lovely. Actually, I cannot even show, but I am in this small room of Ayan's, which speaks about this universe, and I'm so thrilled at this point because, I mean, the hard work it really shows, the amount of effort that has been taken to write down each character, to specify exactly how each character is supposed to behave, the flashback and everything, it's commendable. But what was the most, especially when it comes to VFX, that is something you can write down what you exactly want, but it's difficult to execute. Especially like you mentioned, with the lack of technological support, the limited amount of technological support that we have in India especially. If you had to list that one scene perhaps which was the most difficult to pull through in part 1.
You mean in terms of visual effects?
Yes.
So I'll tell you where a scene that we got stuck on in visual effects. For some reason, we really got stuck on the scene of Nagarjuna sir's character when he takes on the truck before the interval, and the big bull sort of representing the energy of Nandi comes behind him. For some reason, the concept was very clear. Like if you come to my edit room, you'll see a concept, a truck and a man running with a big bull behind him. But for some reason, that bull was not happening.
Oh.
And I think what happened is that because perhaps the sequence was shot in day, that kind of colored energy doesn't stand out in the day the way that it does in the night.
Right.
So we just got stuck. The teams got stuck. They would keep working on stuff and people were not very happy with it. And one of our producers on the film, Mr. Namit Malhotra, is also the head of the whole VFX story on the film. And he was also looking at it and he's like, yeah, it's not working. And it was till the end and we'd been working on it for like a few years. And then the way we creatively solved it is that what we created is that as Nagarjuna sir's character wears the Nandi Astra, as he activates it, basically the entire environment goes a little bit darker.
Correct.
Allowing for the bull to come out. So that was a very difficult sequence for us.
Yeah, and also, I mean, It came out very well. It's one of
Yeah,
the few scenes that stands out, by the way.
Yeah,
because
I
I've
think
heard
so too.
people, I mean, it's not just me talking, I've heard from
People talk about the
around.
Nandi
that
scene. Yeah.
So you pulled it off really well,
Yeah,
basically.
thank you.
But you know, with VFX, again, like you said, budget is also one of the concerns. And we have heard theories and rumors, innumerable rumors when it comes to Brahmastra 1, that the amount of budget was this and that.
Yeah.
But you know, with the success of the first part, do you think the second part, to assemble everything and to get the VFX team on board, which can deliver the high quality that you envision, do you think it becomes easier now? More than it was?
I'll tell you the truth is that when we really have this conversation after Brahmastra 2 is made, is when we'll get the truthful answer to this question.
Correct.
Because, you know, I thought a lot of things on part 1 also. But until you've not done something, you don't really know. You know, experience is the best teacher. So definitely the idea is, and everybody who's made a part 2, like when we speak to, let's say, Rajamouli sir, he would probably give me the impression that maybe Bahubali 2 was an easier flow than part 1 because you've already been through the process. And, you know, with what we've invested in part 1, we've understood the way that Shiva's fire moves and the color of his fire, and we've solved like the Vanarastra and the Nandi Astra, and we created the Brahmastra energy. So we're not creating from scratch again.
Correct.
So definitely by that token, it should be simpler. And the team has been through the process, but you know, I think what people don't realize is that I am also hoping to open a new bag of tricks for part 2. And there will be visual effects that we have to create that were not part of part 1.
Yeah.
And then again, creating something new will come with that same amount of trial and error, trying to solve it. So I'm hopeful that things will be easier, but I'm not counting on it.
I mean, I think comparatively it might be easier, but of course, like you mentioned,
there will be
come
challenges.
with its own challenges because you're also trying to push the boundaries.
Trying to push the boundaries, and I'm trying to scrunch the time that we took.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make part 2 release. I've already put a mental vision out there that we want part 2 to be out in 2025.
Okay.
And I mean, as you know, Brahmastra 1 took, you know, much more time than that.
5 years, Ayan. We waited 5 years.
More than that, to be honest.
For you, it must be more. But since the time it was announced...
To be honest, from the time it was announced also, if I'm not mistaken, it's been 7 years.
Really?
Yeah. I think the first time we announced it, it might even be, I think so.
Yeah, it took a lot of time, true.
Yeah.
But I hope that the second one will not take as much time. Yeah, we have to. All our energy is passed on. Like, we are also as an audience really waiting for it. But also, I mean, you know, one of the key factors, Vanarastra, I remember there was actually with Brahmastra 1, it opens a scope for a lot of spin-offs as well. I mean, I know that right now the focus is the trilogy. But it also opens a gate for a lot of spin-offs, especially with Vanarastra, what could have happened, you know, other Astras, what could have happened. Are you also planning perhaps, is that a thought in mind? Because there have been theories and there have been rumors about that
Yes, it is a thought in my mind.
You would like to explore?
Yes, to be very honest, not only like it's not a very far away thought as well.
Yeah.
We've already been, we took so much time to do part 1 and we were so immersed in this universe that we couldn't stop all these different ideas and possibilities coming not only in my mind, but in the minds of the core team around me, my young assistants on this film, you know, the direction team. So we've already thought of storylines for some of these projects that you're thinking of, that you're mentioning. So it's definitely all in our mind, but we have to still go through a few steps before it becomes a reality, and then we'll talk about it when it's ready to be more real.
Of course, but as long as that thought is there. Because I feel there's just so much. We speak about Marvel, we speak about the other universes so much. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
No, I feel that as well. I feel that as well. I feel that energy.
And I think that the little bit cynicism which people had perhaps before the release, it's all been replaced by hope and, you know, sort of an admiration for seeing more from this universe. But what do you take of the comparison though? Because see, while there's a lot of appreciation, of course, there will always be a section who will be critical. And rightly so sometimes, I guess. But what do you take of this entire comparisons being made to different universes, especially Marvel, the inspiration?
What comparison? Tell me
I
a little
remember,
more.
like for example, a lot of people were like, ki Shiva's flashback, which is happening, it's quite similar to what Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, to be honest, Shiva's flashback is similar to Harry Potter's because I am a huge Harry Potter fan and some little bit of that must have seeped in. So one thing is that, I feel very confident of the basic originality of what it is that we are setting up. And beyond that, I don't feel, it doesn't bother me so much to take inspiration from other places if it comes in a very natural and nice way.
Correct.
Because, to be honest, all art is somewhere inspired by some thought or some feeling or something that's happened in your life. And even other movies have happened in my life only. A comparison with the Marvel universe makes me feel energized actually, because what they've managed to accomplish, the amount of content that they have managed to create and regularly put out, it is my dream that and I think I'll have to work 10 years to get to a point where the Astraverse is able to generate such high quality material so quickly. Marvel is putting out 4 to 5 properties a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I admire them so much and I admire that model so much. And so I take all the comparisons in a positive way. I take all the critique in a really positive way. I just want the opportunity to continue to work hard and to be able to be boldly creative and imaginative. And I really hope I'm able to take this Astraverse dream to its fullest potential, because I really do believe that it could be a very wonderful thing for our country.
It will. I mean, we can see that already.
It's original. It would be our own. It touches upon a lot of themes and could touch upon a lot of stuff that's very deep rooted in our culture.
Yeah.
Bring that out in a very new way. Bring that out for young people in this country, allowing them to get excited and explore more of these themes, more of this culture. And it would allow for so many more people to make films like this.
True.
It would help to establish, on the back of the Star Wars movies in the 1970s in America, they built such a great world of technical filmmaking and technical support to be able to tell any kind of story.
Yeah.
So I feel like what we achieve with Astraverse only encourages so many more people in India to do really cool stuff. So I hope that that's just my, that's my, my positive hope.
No, I was actually coming to that because a lot of people, when they compare today with Marvel, most of them, I think, ignore the fact that Marvel started way back and it took them that much time to be able to produce the kind of 4 films in a year, is because they spent 20 years building that.
Well, and let me also, Bhavna, that Marvel has taken that long to build the films, but they are based on comic book writing, which has been happening for 30, 40 years before that.
True.
Brahmastra is not based on a piece of literature. And if we decide to make Vanarastra, we have to write the whole story. So we're also writing the stories from scratch, which makes me honestly feel very proud about what we've created with Brahmastra as well, because in its story, it is the birth of an original fantasy universe, which I feel really good about.
Wow, so kudos to you on that. I think you should also pat your back and the entire team's back to be able to pull off something like this.
Thank you.
But also, again, I'm always excited to know a little bit of whatever is happening right now with part 2. So what is the update that you can share with us at this point, Ayan?
See, the part 2 plan is, one, that Ayan and his core team must take a holiday. Because without a holiday...
Why was I not expecting this?
Without a holiday, we won't be fresh enough to take on this new journey. I think this is a good time to, like you said, reflect, rejuvenate. And I think then, before we make any announcements and Dev and Amrita and all that stuff, I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time just on the story of part 2 again.
Correct.
Relook at my thoughts afresh, and just concentrate first on the most important thing, which is the vision of part 2.
Correct.
And give it some real quality time, and that's where part 2 is at. And then everything else will follow.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, if I may ask, what part are you in when it comes to the writing process itself?
Well, to be honest, before part 1 released, I thought I was at like 7.5 because I had been working on the script. But to be honest, now that part 1 is out, I'm going to look at it like, I don't want to go in with that preconceived notion that, oh, we've reached 7 point. I want to look at it fresh. It's possible that I'm going to come back and say, oh, we're actually at 9 already. Or I might come back and say that actually we are at 4 and I still want to work harder. You know, I've not made that assessment, but we're in a good place.
Good place. That makes me, that reassures me.
Yeah, we're in a
as
good
well.
place.
But again, so many rumors. I'm sorry, but Brahmastra universe is so huge, so many rumors, and the only person who can confirm is you.
I'm the only person who can confirm.
So
but I'm not going to confirm anything. So you're just wasting your time by bringing it up.
But let's see what you have to say. So Yash, one of the key rumors is that Yash has been approached to play Dev.
I love Yash. It would be great if he plays Dev, but no, I'm joking. There were rumors about Ranveer Singh.
I was coming to that.
And there were other rumors as well about other actors, and I can't tell you anything.
But are we okay? Let's not confirm or deny anything at this point.
Right.
But are you looking at other actors? Say, because I remember Hrithik Roshan in an interview. I had only asked him this thing that you
had asked him the question.
Yeah, that there have been rumors, and he did not deny it. He said that he is obviously considering all the possibilities. So I want to.
I can't tell you anything because the fun of the whole Dev story isn't. It'll come at the right time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would you be open to, say, if Yash is interested in it, maybe? Would you be okay? Or would you want him to be?
You're putting me in a spot because you have to because when you ask me that question, what if we've already are in talks or have somebody's already playing Dev, and then you're asking me a question which could, set the whole thing off. So I really can't answer that question.
Okay, no problem. Right, I think we'll wait for the...
Just wait for it. It's fine. There's a fun in waiting also.
Okay. No, we are always very excited to know a lot of things about the work.
But it's fun when it happens in the right way at the right time.
Of course. But also, I mean, you're such a young director, Ayan.
I'm not that young, Bhavna.
Let me just say you are young.
I look younger than I am, I think.
Doesn't matter. You are a very young
I've aged making Brahmastra. I was young when I made Ye Jawani Hai Diwani.
No, you're still young. But what motivates you to take all this risk at this point? Because a lot of seasoned directors would also not. I mean, because it comes with a lot of weight, lot of work behind the scenes, and a lot of period where you're wondering what is happening because it takes that much time. What kept you going?
I think. I don't know. I always feel very pompous or arrogant to say stuff like, "Oh, I'm particularly ambitious," or "I want to create something amazing." Though I do think that what we're trying to create is quite amazing. So I like to think that I like to look at it different. I like to look at it with a sense of gratitude, and I consider myself lucky that such a cool vision sort of came to me. That's what I say to myself. And I say that, it's like my good fortune in a way that this idea for this entire universe and Brahmastra channeled itself through me. And I should just keep working hard so that the creativity kind of keeps flowing. I believe very much in what it is that we're trying to create. And I have always had a sense that, we have an opportunity to push the boundary. And I felt very inspired by that in, creating something that could be really amazing and remarkable. And that's it. And I've just, therefore believed in good, honest hard work. And that's it. I'm just on that path.
Okay, lovely. And thank you so much on that note that I am sending all the good energy your way for part 2 and
Thank you.
Of course part 3.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.